Okay. This was the most draining week of competition as usual. It was the most memorable year night. And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I want to pull my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Cookie? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is Dancing with the Stars, Season 24, week number 4. And like I said, it's the most draining of the weeks. It's so funny because I sat and I woke up this morning literally tired. I was tired. And I kept saying, why did I wake up tired? But I was up real late, like 3, 4 in the morning, watching Dancing with the Stars. You know, it's like 2 hours long, and I have other shows that I have to do. And I'm watching, and I woke up, I was drained. I was literally drained because for those 2 hours, I was literally crying and carrying on the whole. You know how I do. I'm a waterhead. So I said, that's why I was so damn tired. I literally had just drank myself, but it was the best. You know, sometimes you cry. It is what it is. Anyway, so like I said, the most memorable year night. So let's get down to it because I'm going to run through, so I don't want this to be too long. Okay, so first we had Normani and Val. The year was 2012. This was the year that she actually first joined Fifth Harmony. Was her first year. She started off her number. The number was good. The outfits were really good. Pretty. They did this rose-colored situation going on. Fifth Harmony was actually there. They sang the song. And Normani actually sang the very beginning of the first verse. And then they took her mic and then they did a rumba and they started to dance. It was really good. Really, really good. 32. They got 32 across. Naturally, they get great scores. Next was Nick and Peta. And this was actually Nick Viall's best dance so far. For whatever reason, everything clicked, but I knew it would. I told you, he's with Peta. So I have full faith. She's going to get him where he needs to be. He may not win, but she's going to get him to where he can, you know, the best that he can actually do. And I'm here for it. His was 2015. And that's when he actually found love on The Bachelor. He was, I want to say he was actually a contestant on The Bachelorette first, and then he became The Bachelor, and he actually found love, I believe, on The Bachelor. But anyway, he did a rumba as well. He did his dance, and his fiance actually joined them at the end, and they had this kiss that they had to like break up, cut. It was funny. He got a 30. He got a 30. So it was his best dance so far. Next, we had Nancy and Artem to a Foxtrot. 1995 was the her year, and it was the year that she had her first child. And then after this was a mess. After that, she literally suffered 6 miscarriages in 8 years. Because she always had this thing where she wanted to have 3 children. That was her thing. She always knew she wanted to be married and she wanted to have 3 children. So 6 miscarriages in 8 years. And then in 2003, she went through IVR treatment and she had another baby. And then she had another baby after that. And she ended up with her goal of her 3 kids. So, you know, right in there is where the tears got started for me. But yeah, she got a 33, which was really, really good. Can you imagine? You know, I mean, that is really, really brave, and that is a big show of tenacity. 6 miscarriages? I can't even imagine. I have a friend who had a miscarriage, and she never has gotten over it. And it's been well over 20 years. And she still goes through, you know, different situations about that. That's, you know, that's one of those things. That's a death. It's a family death, and it's even more personal, I believe, for a mother than when you just lose a family member. You know what I mean? 6 of them in an 8-year period. I couldn't even imagine. So you go ahead on, Nancy Kerrigan. You're a strong old soul. So yeah, like I said, that's what started the tears. And this one next is what took it all the way over for me. Mr. T and Kim. So 1995 was Mr. T's year. And that was when he had his cancer battle. And they did a waltz to Amazing Grace. And it was so funny. He was feeling some kind of way because he had to do, he said he didn't know how Amazing Grace was going to translate into a dance because it's the song that was real personal and he always just heard it, you know, at his mother's house or at church. And we seen a whole different Mr. Well, I seen a whole different Mr. T, and we all know why the cancer thing with me is like. But what took me over the edge when Mr. T said, he said at the point that he had this going on, he knew, he said things started to open up and things, he looked at things different because at this point now it was about what's real. What's real and what's not real. And like he said, my faith in God is what's real. God is the only thing that can save me. Well, baby, if you just think about that, I ain't going to start up now, but I was tore up there for a minute. I had to actually stop the DVR. That alone, I was like, that's the truth. That was deep. It was too much. Too much. Anyway, moving on. Next, we got Heather and Alan. Max is still under the weather, so Max wasn't able to dance. Alan danced. They did a cha-cha. Hers was 2015. That's when she got married. And they basically, it was good. It was fabulous storytelling. Through the dance, they did like her whole wedding. Like they recreated her wedding night through the dance. And it was so funny because she told the story of how the song that her and her husband danced to was the baby, because baby was already there. Her baby, she had already had her baby. Her baby was in the wedding. It was her baby's favorite song. So it was like a really goofy, kind of cartoony, animated song. And that's what they danced to, their first dance to. So that was really, it was really cool. And that was very different. I would have loved to have seen that. But yeah, she came on the wedding gown and she had the detachable tulle bottom. It was really good. And it had detachable tulle bottom and it turned into a jumpsuit with palazzo pants. Gorgeous. They got 35. You know, they got an 8 and 3 9s. 35. That was good. That was really good. And her husband was part of her, her actual husband was part of her number 2. He was there in the beginning and at the end. So that was cool. Next was David and Lindsay. 2016 was his year. That was when the Cubs won the World Series. And it's his retirement year. And he hit that home run. Everything was like a fairy tale. Like he had the best ending to a career that anybody has ever had. They did a Viennese waltz, a 7 and 8s across the board, 31. And there was a game, a baseball game at the same time, and they were supposed to be doing the national anthem or whatever and something else, and it was raining too bad. They ended up pulling that part and holding the game up and actually had showed him and Lindsay's dance in the stadium while they were actually doing it live on the show. So that was like really, really groovy. You know, that Dancing with the Stars will get it together. That was cool. Next one, this was too much too. Rashad and Emma. So Rashad and Emma, 2006 was his year. And we got to see, it was real personal. So we literally jumped all the way off of how fine Rashad is to it was a special time for him and his dad. He talked about him and his dad had kind of a tumultuous type of relationship. He didn't understand his dad. His dad is one of those men that's real, real quiet and don't say a whole lot. Just provide for the family and keep it moving. They did a contemporary dance. He talked about going, he went to college. You know, it was one of the things, like he said, his dad just didn't physically show love. Okay, so he wasn't a hugger, he wasn't a talker, he wasn't a kisser, he wasn't anything like that. And I understand that because my mother's not like that. I don't ever remember hugging my mother at all. I'm 45 years old, and I don't ever remember hugging my mother. Not at all. Not at all. Though I know my mother loves me. I mean, you know what I mean? That's evident. And God knows I look exactly like her. We have a total connection, but she is just not that person. She's not a hugger. She's not, that's just not her. You know what I mean? So I understood what he was saying, but it, you know, with boy on boy, it was more of a, it kind of felt, I think their relationship kind of fell into like a love-hate kind of thing. You know what I mean? Well, everything changed in 2006. His dad had a stroke. So, of course, that changed his life. From being this closed-off person, he now needed the help of his family. So, I'm sure that was very hard for his dad to even adjust to. And Rashad, at that point, said it didn't even matter what happened in the past. He left the college he was at, moved to a different college that was closer, and went ahead, and everybody was saying, you're killing your career. Do you know that you could be possibly killing your career by making that move? And even his dad didn't want him to move. He said, just stay and do what it is you needed to do. And he's like, no. I need to be where my family is. Because without my family, to hell with all of this. So he came in, and then him and his dad's relationship completely changed. And he basically learned how to love his dad for who he was. Instead of saying, you know, I think it should be like this, I think it should be like that. He learned how to love his dad exactly the way he was. And his dad, same thing with him. You know what I mean? They learned how to love it. And you can see it now. It's crazy. They did the dance. The parents were there, the mother and father. The father's in a wheelchair. And he did his dance, and he ran off the floor like this little kid. Like a little, just fine ass, built ass little kid, but like a little kid. He ran across that floor and literally jumped up in that chair. You know, he went and hugged his dad. He damn near jumped up in the chair with his dad, and that dad just cried. I said, child, oh, honey, here y'all go. Child was tore up again. And Rashad got the first 10 of the season. Not one, not two, but 3 of them. He got 10, 9, 10, 10. So it was 39. Highest score of the season, and it was well deserved. The whole ballroom was just torn up. You understand me? Anyway, okay, let's move on. Erica Jane, and Glad, 1989 was her year. She moved to New York to pursue her career. You know, she just stepped out on faith. That's what it was all about, you know, and that's what she's all about. And she did a cha-cha, and she did real good. 30. She got 30. And, of course, Len still was like, he's like, you dancing your ass off. Just drop the sexy. She's like, I don't know. I can't drop the sexy. That's me. I'm sexy. What do you want me to do? And she had did Madonna. You know, she loves Madonna. So it was really good, though. I was like, all right. Anyway, the next one was another one that tore me up. Simone and Sasha. I don't remember the exact year, but it was when she was 3 years old, and her grandparents adopted her. That was her whole thing. You know, she was saying, you know, when she was at the orphanage and everything, she broke down and was saying how, you know, when her grandfather came to the orphanage, you know, she couldn't wait to see him, this, that, thing, and the other. Her mother had some different drug situations and all that. But the grandparents adopted him and took them on home, honey. They lived out of state. They didn't even live in the state. They lived out of state. Took them. And they told them, you know, you could call us mommy and daddy if you want to or whatever. And, I mean, the whole adoption story, of course, again, you all know why that's kind of close to me because I have some of those too. So, yeah, it was something. Her story was something. Right after she watched her package, you see the tears running down her face before she even started to dance. She danced her ass off. She had a Viennese waltz, 9s across the board. 9s across the board, she had a 36. Next was Bonner and Sharna to a foxtrot. His was 2016. His was another one coming back from his injuries. Basically against all odds because they didn't know if he was going to walk. They didn't even know if Bonner was going to live. He broke his neck. So they didn't even know if he was going to live. And literally within 1 year's time, he is literally running around here on Dancing with the Stars. I mean, he went from being told, you're not going to ever be able to do your sport again. You know, and that's kind of crazy because to have a talent and then somebody tell you you can't do that anymore, I can't even imagine. If my arms and my legs stopped working and I couldn't do what it is that I do, I don't even want to think about how I would feel about that. If you tell me, no, you can't do that no more. I couldn't even imagine. But he can't do that, but look what he can do. He's walking around here like everybody else and dancing. Well, you know, 8s across the board. And I think you're going to get him a good little lady friend, honey. I'm still, you know, I'm still hanging on. I'm still in for the trip with him and Sharna. They were just so cute together to me. Anyway, okay, moving on. So the bottom 2 couples were Erica and Gleb and Mr. T and Kim. And unfortunately, Mr. T got eliminated. But, like, it happens a lot. He got eliminated on his best night. So it was cool. He was cool. The whole ballroom stood up. Again, we got reintroduced to Mr. T and a different Mr. T. And I think everybody walked away with a different appreciation for Mr. T, the man, not the celebrity, but Mr. T, the actual man. Who would have ever thought that he was actually as spiritual as he is? He's very, very spiritual and very, very deep-rooted and attached to church. And who would have ever thought that about Mr. T? It was interesting. Okay, I'm done with this because I don't want to get started again. Anyway, it was a good episode, but I understand, after I thought about it, I understand why I was tired when I woke up. I was drained. Anyway, all right, I'll see you guys next week. Later.